They keep telling me there are no children on this floor. The nurse with the tired eyes says it first, then the young orderly with the shaved head, then the night doctor when he leans over me to check the chart and pretends not to hear it. Which children? Mikhail Semyonovich. It's a retirement home. Geriatrics only. There are no children here. They say that while the radiator under the window ticks like teeth, and somewhere down the corridor I hear boots squeaking on linoleum and the dry, sharp laughter of kids kicking something across the floor. Not a ball. Something that hits with a hollow wooden thud, the way a wooden desk lid sounds when it slams shut on small fingers. I keep my blanket pulled up. My fingers shake when I reach for the glass of water. The surface trembles, catches the hallway light, and for a moment it's not water. Not really. It is compacted snow with a crust of ice on top. Small heel prints run across it. Bare feet, darker patches where ash and soot melt into slush, exactly like the street outside the school, the morning after the raid. The nurse opens the blinds a little. Outside, the courtyard is half snow, half gray puddles, the panel blocks pressing in. A boy in a blue jacket drags a plastic sled over the ice near the dumpster. His breath fogs white. He turns his head like he feels me watching. For a second, the hood falls back the wrong way. I don't see his face. I see a curtain of burned skin, stiff like linen, left too close to a stove. The same texture they had when we pulled them out onto the snow. My chest tightens. I pinch the skin on the back of my hand with my nails, until I feel it. Until I'm sure it is this room, this bed, this time, not that cellar. The glass on the bedside table rattles once. I hear the other children again, more of them this time, out in the corridor, running, laughing in short bursts. Voices too high, too clear for this place, and exactly the same as they were in 43. There is a shape at the doorway, short, thin, a gray outline against the hallway light, bare feet on cold linoleum. The nurse turns when she hears me suck in air. She looks at the door, sees nothing, and smiles the way people smile at old men who pretend they don't remember what they did. "What is it?" she asks. "Close the door." I say, she does. The shape does not move away. It only steps aside from the crack, like it knows I will open it again sooner or later. I was 23 the first time I saw them. Back then my hands didn't shake. Back then snow meant cover, not grave dirt. We are pushing through a belt of forest somewhere west of Sevsk, winter of 43. The Germans have fallen back, but not far. There are shells half buried in drifts, and black, jagged trees that used to be houses. Our division creeps forward like a man reaching into a stove with both hands, feeling for something he dropped in the coals. My squad moves in single file, 8 men and me, our coats stiff with frost, ice in the fur around our collars, breath hanging in front of us like small ghosts that cannot decide which way to go. Ahead, the forest thins. Beyond the line of birches, I see a low swell of white with shapes pushing through it. Roofs without walls, chimneys without houses, a broken bell tower with its mouth torn open, tongue of iron missing. Volcha Sloboda, Wolf Hamlet, at least that's what the partisan guide called it last night, over the map. His fingers stained with tobacco as he traced the line of the old road. Burned twice, he had said. First time by the whites, second time by the Germans. They don't like to occupy it, only pass through. They say the wolves there don't eat meat. They only eat names. The battalion commander snorted at that, stared at the man's worn coat, at the frost clinging to his beard. Wolves don't eat anything in winter, but what they can find, the commander said. Tonight they will eat Germans. He pointed at me then. Koval, you go first, light. 10 kilometers ahead of the regiment. Find if the road through Voltia Sloboda can take trucks. Look for mines, rear guards, anything moving on 2 legs. You come back by 1600. If you see any kind of resistance, you mark and bypass. Don't be a hero. He said it like a joke. He always did. We laughed because that was the rule. Don't be a hero. Just don't come back empty. The partisan didn't laugh. He touched the little image on the cord around his neck, hidden under his shirt. "There is another rule," he said quietly, like he was talking to the tabletop, not to us. "Do not speak their names out loud there, Comrade Commander." "Whose names?" the commander asked. "The children," the partisan said. "Now, in the white glare of morning, I see the village. We come up on it from the east, across a shallow hollow where the snow reaches our knees. Smoke is still rising from a collapsed barn. The smell is sharp and greasy. Burnt wood, singed thatch, something else underneath. Fresh whispers, Ivchenko behind me. Rifle grenadier. Wide shoulders, narrow eyes, from somewhere near Poltava. He wears his helmet too low, so it always touches his nose when he looks down. Yesterday at most, I say. Maybe this morning." He nods. His breath puffs against the back of my neck. We spread out as we reach the first houses. Charred beams stick out of the snow like ribs. Household things are fused into black lumps. Pot, kettle, a twisted samovar half sunk in ice. A horse lies on its side, legs stiff, eyes cloudy, a thin film of snow on its flank like a sheet. "Look at the tracks," says Romanov, the youngest, with a voice that still cracks sometimes when he curses. "All over the place. No discipline." He means the German boots. They are everywhere. Heavy soles with nail heads stamped into the snow and mud. They go from house to house, to the barn, to the well. Some are stamped over with the smooth leather soles of civilians. Bare feet too, smaller. I gesture to the squad. "Pair up, stay in sight. No souvenirs. Mines, booby traps, rear guards." Eyes open. They move off in twos and threes. Shura the machine gunner and Yura, his loader, toward the church. Ivchenko and Romanov toward the barn. Old Fedor, the oldest at 35, with little Kozlov, who always walks on his toes, toward the far end, where the taller houses stand. I cross the main street. Someone painted a wolf's head on the side of a burned wall, years ago. Time and smoke have stretched it. The teeth are blurred, the eyes gone, only white patches where snow stuck to the scorched plaster. In my pocket is a folded scrap of paper with the names of the people who lived here. Intelligence loves lists. How many houses? How many animals? How many souls? There were 23 children in Volsia Sloboda before the war, according to that paper. Now there is no sound but wind in eaves and the distant regular thud of artillery, like a slow heart somewhere under our feet. Then I hear it. Not shells, not the crackle of refreezing timbers. It is a sharp, dry sound. Something hitting something. A rhythm. Toke, 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 toke. I stop, tilt my head. The strap of my submachine gun creaks on my shoulder. My breath comes out and hangs, listening to, "Do you hear that?" I say. Shura looks up from the path he and Yura are clearing with their boots. "Here, what?" he asks. I take a few steps toward the sound. It comes again, toke, toke, then a burst of high, piping laughter that does not belong to men in uniform. Romanov straightens, snow on his gloves. His face goes pale under the dirt. "That's kids," he says. He is right. It is impossible, but it is right. I follow the sound between two houses. The passage is narrow, packed snow glazed with ice, where water ran from a broken barrel and froze. The edges of the roofs are jagged teeth overhead. A piece of cloth flaps on a nail, gray and stiff. The passage opens into a yard. There is a low, broken wall at the far side, the remains of a woodshed near it. One wall of a house half standing, the fire having eaten away the lower beams, so the upper floor has collapsed in a slope of charred planks. On top of this black hill, white snow lies in a smooth sheet. On that snow, they are playing. 4 of them at first. One boy in a padded jacket that used to be blue, the color now lost under soot and ash, throws a small block of wood at a line scratched into the snow. Another boy, taller, in a cap with the ear flaps burned away, jumps to dodge it. A girl in a red dress, the color bright, even under soot stains, claps her hands, fingers bare. Another little girl, smaller, in a woolen sweater that hangs crooked on one shoulder, bends down to pick up the block and tosses it back with both hands. Their cheeks are flushed, their noses are running, their breaths puff out in little white clouds. Their bare feet leave no prints. They move across the snow, light and fast, laughing, shouting rules of a game I don't know, and the surface stays smooth, untouched, except where the wooden block lands. That leaves a mark, a dark dent. When they pick it up, the dent slowly fills with white again, like a wound, stiffening, reluctantly closing. I do not say anything. I just stand there. Romanov almost collides with my back when he comes up behind me. His hand clamps down on my shoulder. "Bazi moi," he whispers. "What is that?" The boy in the ruined cap turns his head. His eyes are too dark for his face. Not brown, not black, just dark, like polished wood. The girl in red stops clapping. Her hair is in 2 braids, tied with scraps of ribbon, one burned down to a melted clump. They look at us. Behind me, boots crunch in the snow. Shura and Yura have followed. Ivachenko too, his rifle hanging from his shoulder, mouth half open. Koval Shura says quietly, "What do we do?" I cannot answer. The smallest girl tilts her head. She steps down from the broken house, onto the flat snow. No print, no sink. Her sweater moves in a wind I do not feel. She walks toward me. My hand goes to the submachine gun. Fingers on cold metal. Safety catch, a small, real thing, under my thumb. My breath loud in my ears. The girl stops a few paces away. Her eyes are gray. Her skin is smudged with soot. Her lips are cracked, but when she speaks, her voice is clear. "Are you ours?" she asks. The words are Russian, local, with the soft consonants of the Bryansk forests. "Ours. Swoy." I swallow. My throat is dry. "Yes," I say. "Red Army." She looks at the cloth on my sleeve, at the star on my cap. Her gaze is old and not old at the same time. "You're late," she says. Behind her, the boy in blue laughs, without smiling. He throws the block of wood again. It passes through the girl's shoulder as if through smoke, and lands on the snow with the same hollow toke. "Jesus, Mary," Romanov mutters. "Shut up," Ivachenko snaps, but his voice is thin. The girl lifts her hand. Her fingers are red from cold, or from something else. She points past us, toward the street. "More are coming," she says. We hear them, then, all at once, they are gone. No fade, no blur. One heartbeat, they are there. The next there is empty snow, smooth and untouched, except for the dents where the block hit. The block itself lies on the surface, half sunk. Shura makes a sound between his teeth. Yura crosses himself quickly, handshaking. I step forward. My boots sink. The snow squeaks under my soles. I reach down and pick up the block. It is just a piece of firewood, rough, splintered on one end, warm, not from the sun, from something else. In the street, someone shouts. "Mine," Fedor's voice, ragged. "Stop, don't move." I drop the block and run. By the time we reach the far end of the village, the 3 of them have already found one of the Germans' parting gifts. The road out toward the west is lined with black stumps where fruit trees used to stand. Between them, in the snow, others stand in a row, children, not playing now, not moving. They are lined up shoulder to shoulder, facing away from us, toward the open field and the dipping line of forest beyond. They wear what they died in, coats half burned off their backs, dresses stiff with soot. One boy in an overlarge German tunic with the sleeves dragging in the snow. Their hands hang by their sides. Their necks twist slightly, like it hurts them to hold their heads up. Their hair is stiff with ice. They should be sinking. They are not. They stand on top of the snow, as if on a painted stage. Fedor stands 10 meters away from them, frozen. Kozlov is beside him, one boot half raised mid. "Step back," I say. "Slow. Follow your own tracks." "No," says Fedor. His cheeks are gray. Look at their legs." I do. The snow in front of the line of children is pocked with holes. Not prints. Not exactly. Neat, round holes cut into the crust. The edges blackened. Beneath the snow, I see metal. Little circles of steel. Pressure mines. The children are standing exactly where the safe path ends. Between each mine, there is exactly one small, perfect patch of untouched snow in the shape of a child's foot. They're marking them, Romanov says hoarsely. Holy God, they're dead. I cut him off. My voice is harder than I feel. Whatever this is, they're dead. The mines are not. Fedor Kozlov back now. Fedor obeys. He steps back, heel into his old print, slow, as if underwater. Kozlov follows, his eyes locked on the small forms ahead. One of the children moves, a little boy. Bare feet, shirt burned away so his ribs are a cage of shadow. He lifts one hand and points at Kozlov's foot. Kozlov freezes. Left, the boy says. His lips do not move with the word. The sound comes from somewhere lower, closer to the snow. The air smells of burned hair. Kozlov scrambles to shift his weight. He steps back into a different print. The boy lowers his hand. Good, he says. Fedor makes it back to us. His breath rattles. What in hell is this, Misha? He asks. It's nothing we can shoot, I say. Afterwards, when we crawl the flanks with probes and bayonets and mark the mines with sticks cut from the few trees that still stand, it becomes clear there is a pattern. The German engineers laid them in a perfect grid. Every 2 strides, another round of death under the snow. But there are gaps. Little pockets of untouched surface where a child could step if he knew the right rhythm, the right game. They knew it. Whether the Germans used the children as guides, or the children learned to read the pattern on their own before the fire took them, we never find out. There are no living civilians left in Volkya Sloboda, only bodies, only ash under drifts, black seams where floors used to be. The partisans have songs about places like this. We heard them around fires before, when the vodka bottle had gone around too many times, and someone younger wanted to scare someone even younger. Stories of villages that keep living on after they are burned, of children who never stop playing the last game they played. The partisan guide stays at the edge of the village when we report back, his shoulders hunched, his eyes on the snow. You spoke to them? He asks. I hesitate. My tongue sticks to the roof of my mouth. Yes, he nods once. It is not a movement of surprise, more like resignation. Then they will speak to you again, he says. We find German signs nailed to posts at the edge of the wood. In black letters, the word Menon. Below it, somebody scratched another word in Russian with a knife. Emuna names. We move on. The regiment comes through later, along the safe path we marked. Trucks, sledges, guns, men. On the way back, we use the same road. No one steps off it. That should have been the end. The second time they come is at night. We are dug in along a low rise a few kilometers west. The Germans hold the next village like a clenched fist. Their artillery reaches us in slow, angry strokes. We reach back with mortar and whatever shells division gives us. There is no moon. The snow glows faintly under the overcast, enough to make black shapes of bodies and guns. The air smells of sweat inside wool and powder outside it. My squad shares a dugout roofed with pine logs and dirt. The walls sweat melt water. The straw on the floor is gray and flattened. We sit hunched on ammunition crates and folded greatcoats, passing a cigarette. Kozlov cannot sleep. He taps his boot against the plank, heel toe, heel toe, as if rehearsing that step away from the mine. Stop it, Shura grunts. You'll bring shells that way. Better shells than Kozlov stops. Licks his lips. Then what? Yura asks. Kozlov looks at me. Sergeant? He says. That little boy. When he spoke, his mouth didn't move. You saw that, right? I want to say no. I say nothing. Romanov leans his head back against the dirt. My grandmother used to say, burned children don't leave footprints, he says. They walk on steam. You can hear them, but not see them. I never believed her. Your grandmother also said, if you whistle at night, devils piss in your boots. Ivachenko mutters. Maybe they did, Romanov says. Maybe that's why my feet are always wet. They laugh. It is too loud, too fast. The dugout door creaks. A face appears in the gap, breath steaming. Sergeant Koval, says the sentry. There's a man from headquarters. Says he needs you. I push myself up, joints stiff from cold. Headquarters can come to me, I say. He's outside. The sentry says, on the rise. There is something in his voice that is not quite right. Not fear, not respect, something in between. He shifts his weight from foot to foot. He's waiting, he adds. Yura makes a face. Maybe he's bringing us extra rations, he says. Or vodka, Treman Shura says. I grab my cap, pull it down over my ears, and duck through the low doorway. The night air hits my face like a hand. The sentry points toward the crest of the rise. He's over there, he says. I climb. Snow squeaks under my boots. The front line lies ahead, invisible in the dark but audible. Distant shouts, an engine turning over, a single machine gun giving a short, irritated burst somewhere, like a man clearing his throat. At the top of the rise, the wind picks up. Nobody is there. The snow is unbroken. I turn to curse the sentry, but he is gone. The path back to the dugout is empty, only our own tracks leading down. Then I hear it. Toke, 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 from the other side of the hill. My mouth goes dry. My hands are bare. I forgot my gloves. The cold bites the skin. I step forward until the ground rolls down on the far side. The snow there is flatter, swept by wind. They are there, not for now. More, 8 or 9. Hard to count. They weave in and out of each other like smoke over water. No fire damage on them this time. No soot. They wear what they wore before the Germans came. Little coats with patches lovingly sewn, scarves wrapped around necks. One has a wooden horse on a string, dragging it in the snow, except there is no mark, no scratch. They are playing the same game. The same block of wood flies from hand to hand, lands, bounces, makes that hollow sound. Toke. They do not sink. The snow does not take them. The girl in the red dress is there too. The red is darker now, like wet cloth. She looks at me over her shoulder. You came? She says. Her voice is the same. Clear. Too clear for this air. I didn't call you, I say. She tilts her head. You stepped into our names, she says. That's enough. The boy with the horse bends down, touches the snow with his free hand. The surface trembles, just a little. For a second, I think I see shadows under it, like dark stones in a shallow river. You shouldn't be out here, I say. The words feel foolish as soon as I say them. Neither should we. A shell moans far away, a long descending whistle. It lands somewhere beyond the German lines. The ground shivers. The children don't flinch. The girl points toward the front. He's going to die, she says. Who? I know the answer before I ask. Still, I ask. The one who hums, she says. I hear it then. A faint tune behind me. A habit. A man's voice under his breath. Kozlov hums when he is nervous. A little march his father taught him. Always the same 3 bars. I turn. He stands halfway up the slope, rifle on his shoulder, cap pushed back, face pale in the dark. He must have followed me, not wanting to be left alone with the rest. Kozlov, I say, go back. There's nothing here. He looks past me. His eyes widen. Sergeant, he says. He takes a step to his right. The children watch. Every head turns, all at once, like birds. No, the girl in red says. Kozlov's heel comes down on empty snow. For a second, nothing happens. Then the snow collapses. The sound is not a bang, not at first. It is a crack, sharp and intimate, as if a thick sheet of glass underfoot has broken. Then the buried charge goes off with a flat concussion. The blast throws me back. My ears ring. Snow dust fills the air, a white cloud that stings my eyes. When it settles, there is a hole where Kozlov stood, a dark mouth, shreds of cloth around it, a leg still in a boot, lies on the slope, steaming in the cold. The rifle is nowhere. The hum he always made is cut in half. The second half never comes. There is a high, thin sound in the air. It takes me a moment to realize it's me, sucking breath through clenched teeth. The children stand at the edge of the fresh crater. Their faces are expressionless. "You're late again," the girl says. "We dig him out in pieces the next day, if you can call it that." The men are quiet. The commander signs the paper. Another name on the list. I avoid looking at that list. I avoid a lot of things. In the present, the nurse holds out the list of pills on the clipboard. "You skipped your evening dose yesterday," she says. "You have to take them, Mikhail Semyonovich." Her pen taps the paper. The sound is too much like the block on snow. Toke toke. My hand curls. "I don't like things that dull the head," I say. "It's not about dulling," she says. "It's about stabilizing." She says it like she is shoring up a trench wall. I look at the little round tablets in the plastic cup. They are white. They could be snow compacted into little discs. Behind her, at the end of the corridor, near the fire door, a small figure stands, hair in braids, dress hanging straight, bare feet on linoleum, no shadow. She lifts a finger and presses it to her lips. "Don't." I close my hand over the cup. "Leave them," I say. "I'll take them later." The nurse hesitates, then shrugs and moves on. Her shoes squeak. The girl in the red dress walks backward as the nurse approaches, steps lightly into the shadow where the corridor turns, and is gone. We keep moving in 43. War does not stop for burned villages or boys blown in half. 2 weeks later, we are in another belt of forest. The Germans have been pushed again. Their rear guards are angry, not orderly. Mines, tripwires, stray shells left in chimneys. The snow over everything, like a white sheet in an empty house. We receive orders to scout a path for a night march. Another village ahead. Smaller, a cluster of houses around a road junction. The map calls it Novopol, New Field. The partisan with the tobacco fingers is not with us now. We have another guide. A woman this time, old, wrapped in a shawl that was once brightly colored. She walks with a stick, and the stick knows the way better than we do. She does not like to talk to officers. She talks to me. "You came from Voltia Sloboda," she says, her breath streaming out as she trudges beside me. "The burned hamlet." "Yes," I say. She glances up at me from under her scarf. "You heard them," she says. "It is not a question." I say nothing. "They play on the names," she says. "Our old ones used to say if a child dies before saying the spring rites, their footsteps stay here. The Germans burned them on the wrong day. The words were still on their tongues. Now they roll them like stones. The mines," I say. She snorts. "You think this is about German toys in the snow," she says. "Those will rust. The names won't." She taps her stick on the crust. "Every place has its own," she goes on. "Old saints or older beasts. Some like water, some like dark. These like games. They play with anything that walks on 2 legs and doesn't know the rules." I think of Slav, of the way his leg lay on the slope, toes pointing toward the village. "Why us?" I ask. "You stepped in," she says simply. "You answered when they spoke." That night, as the column creeps past Novopol and file, our breaths smoking, our boots careful, I walk on the left flank. The snow beside the road looks smooth. The moon is a pale coin behind clouds. There are children in the ditch. They walk pace for pace with us, just below the level of the road. They hold hands. Their bare feet move in a pattern that is not quite marching. 1, 2, 3 hop, 1-2-3-hop, like a dance. Shura cannot see them. He stares straight ahead, lips moving as he counts the men under his breath. Romanov glances down once, then jerks his gaze away, his shoulders hunching, as if he has just felt a cold hand on the back of his neck. "You see them," I say quietly. "I see something," he replies through clenched teeth. The smallest boy looks up at me. "Your road is almost finished," he says. "What road?" I ask. He smiles, but it is not a child's smile. It is too old to knowing. You'll see, he says. We do. Half a kilometer later, the lead platoon hits another field of mines. Different pattern this time, different maker. The first man goes up in a fan of snow and flesh. The second in the next stride. We drop, hug the ditch. The night fills with shouts, curses, the metallic scream of twisted metal. The children are gone. We lie there while the engineers creep forward, probes in hand. It takes hours. The cold becomes a presence of its own, pushing fingers under collars, into boots, up sleeves. At some point, Shura starts to hum. It takes me a moment to realize what melody it is. Kozlov's tune. I elbow him hard. Stop that, I hiss. He startles. Sorry, he mutters. Got in my head. He rubs his hands together, breath hissing through his teeth. I keep hearing them, he says. The little feet, even when we're not on snow, in the dugout, on the road, in my sleep, tap tap, tok tok, like they're running up and down the bunk boards, don't you? Yes, I say. I hear them tonight. I hear them now. In the corridor, on the radiator, in the retirement home. The storm has come. Snow falls heavy outside, swirling under the courtyard lights. The boy with the plastic sled is gone from the window. The world has shrunk to a box of gray and white. The night nurse brings me a bowl of soup. It smells of cabbage and something sour. Steam curls up. For a moment, I could be back in a field kitchen, standing in line with a dented mess tin. She sets it on the table and adjusts the drip at my arm. You need to eat, she says. You barely touched lunch. I'm not hungry, I say. You're always not hungry, she says. What are you keeping room for? She leaves before I can answer. The soup cools. A skin forms on top, thin and wrinkled. Small fingerprints appear in it. They press in from nowhere, one after the other. Tiny ovals. They move across the surface like something walking. Heel toe, heel toe. They leave no mark when they lift, only when they press. I grip the arms of the chair. You're not supposed to be here, I say. The girl in red is sitting on the windowsill. Her dress is not red anymore. Or perhaps the color has just changed. It is darker, like something that has been soaked and dried again and again. Her feet hang above the floor. They do not swing. They are very still. We go where our names go, she says. This isn't your village, I say. She shrugs. They wrote them down, she says. On papers, on lists, on stones. They carried them in pockets and mouths, even after they left, even after they forgot. Names are heavier than boots. I think of the scrap in my pocket that day, the one I never threw away, the one that stayed with me through years of war, folded, unfolded, folded again. Sweat and dirt ground into it until the edges tore. I kept it long after we left Volcha Sloboda, long after the war. It sat in a box with medals and photographs and a German watch that never worked right. The box is here, somewhere in the locker next to the bed. They're all dead, I say. The ones who wrote the names, the officers, the clerks, the ones who burned your houses, the ones who walked through them. There's nothing left to play with. She smiles slightly. It is a pitying smile, like one you give a child who has misunderstood a simple rule. There's you, she says. The radiator ticks. Down the corridor, someone coughs. Somewhere, someone's television murmurs. A game show host laughs too loud. Under it all, faint but clear, I hear snow. Snow has its own sound. The soft hiss as it settles. The tiny crackle when a crust forms. The delicate, dry noise small feet make when they run across it without sinking. We go back once, after the front moves on. Years later. In peacetime. It is not official. No orders. We are visiting a comrade's grave in Bryansk. After the ceremony, after the speeches and the shots over the headstone, Shura takes me aside. Let's go, he says. Where? I ask. He jerks his chin toward the west. You know where. It takes half a day by bus, and then another hour by foot. The road is different now, paved in parts. The forest has grown back in others, thinner, younger. The German signs are gone. New signs stand in their place, with new names. Where Volchia Sloboda was, there is a clearing. Grass, some bushes, a few scattered stones, no houses, no chimneys, no wolf painted on a wall. In the middle of the clearing stands a monument, just a concrete block with a metal plaque. On the plaque, etched in shallow letters, is a list, 23 names. Children. We stand there. I run my finger down the columns. The girl in red, the boy with the burned cap, the small one with the sweater. Their names are there. The letters are clean and modern, cut by some city worker who never saw the place on fire. They gave them that, at least, Shura says. He lights a cigarette. The smoke drifts sideways. I reach into my pocket and pull out the scrap. The old list, the one from headquarters, the one with the household numbers and ages. It is yellow and nearly in pieces. I smooth it out on the top of the monument. Some of the names match, some don't. There are additions, corrections. The dead have been counted again. The wind turns cold. Dry leaves rattle. I look down. Tiny prints run across the surface of the concrete. Not real, not carved. Just lines of frost that appear as we watch. They crisscross the names, loop around them, stop, then move on. Do you see that? I ask. Shura flicks ash off his cigarette. The ash lands in one of the frost prints and disappears. I see nothing, he says firmly. I see us. Two old fools, talking to stone. He tosses the cigarette onto the ground and crushes it under his heel. Toke, I leave the old paper there. Forget it. That's what I tell myself. That I forget it when we walk back to the road, when we catch the bus. But memory is not honest. It chooses. The next morning, in my apartment in Bryansk, I find the scrap on my kitchen table. It is damp. It smells faintly of smoke. There is a new line on it, a name that was not there before. My own. In the retirement home, I ask the orderly to bring me the box from my locker. He grumbles, but he does it. The box is small, metal, dented at the corners. My hands shake when I open it. Metals flash dully. A ribbon has faded to gray. The German watch lies at the bottom, hands frozen at 3 minutes past 2. The scrap of paper is on top. It is not as yellow as it should be. The edges are not as frayed as they were the last time I saw it. The ink is dark. The names are clear. I run my finger down the list. They do not smudge. At the bottom, under the last child's name, a new line curls into existence as I watch. Letters appear, one after the other, as if an invisible pen is pressing them from the other side of the page. Mikhail Semyonovich Koval. The letters are neat, careful, a child's handwriting done slowly so as not to make a mistake. My hand jerks. The paper flutters. The metals clink. There is a sound near the door. Bare feet. They stand there in a row. Not burned now. Not blackened. They are as they should have been. Clean faces. Clear eyes. Cheeks flushed with something that is not entirely life. 23 small bodies lined up in front of my bed, shoulder to shoulder. The girl in red in the middle. They wear winter clothes, but no hats. Their hair is combed. Their hands hang at their sides. They stand on linoleum as if on snow. Behind them, the corridor is empty. The fluorescent lights hum. The nurse's station is a little island of paperwork and tired faces under a clock that refuses to hurry or slow. You finished our list, the girl says. Her voice is satisfied. Not cruel, not kind, just done. She nods toward the window. It's time, she adds. Outside, the snow in the courtyard is deeper. No one has shoveled it yet. It lies smooth and white under the sodium lamps. Where the boy with the plastic sled traced lines earlier, there are impressions now. Small, perfect ovals, bare feet. They start at the fire door and lead out, across the yard, to the gap in the fence where the rust has eaten through. I look down at my own feet. The floor feels soft, slightly springy. Not linoleum, not concrete. Packed snow with a thin crust on top. If I go with you, I say. Do you stop? The girl tilts her head. We stop when the last name is said. She says, you carry yours. Put it down. My chest hurts. Not the usual tightness. Not the old ache. It feels like someone is folding something inside me, folding it into a smaller and smaller square until it becomes dense enough to sink. The drip stand beside my bed trembles. The machine monitoring my heart beeps once, high and offended. The nurse looks up from the station, frowns, and walks toward my room. The children watch her approach. You're late again, the girl says. I push myself up. My legs are weak. They feel like someone else's. The floor sways. The walls bend. I swing my feet down. They sink a little. Cold wraps around my toes, climbs my calves. It is not the real floor I feel. It is the echo of another one, far away in time and distance. The one in front of the burned barn. The one where the block of wood landed again and again. Stay in bed, the nurse says sharply as she comes in. What are you doing? She does not see them. She steps between two of the children without noticing, her shoe passing through a small boy's chest. He giggles. Not at her. At me. Sit down, she says. You'll fall. She reaches for my arm. Her hand passes through cold air that is not empty. The girl in red puts her hand on mine. It is small, hot, bone-deep hot, like a coal wrapped in thin cloth. Not this step, she whispers. The next I look at the paper in my hand. My name shines wetly where the ink has not dried. I crumple it, or try to. The paper will not crumple. It feels like thin metal, flexible, but refusing to break. Give it, the girl says gently. The nurse's hand is still there, fingers on my sleeve. Please, she says. Just sit. We can talk later, about the noises you hear, about the dreams. She does not understand that the dreams are the part I can bear. I open my hand. The scrap floats up, slow like dust motes in a sunbeam. The children reach for it as one. It does not tear. It does not flutter. It spins once and then slides into the girl's palm. She folds it neatly, puts it in the pocket of her dress. The nurse's voice becomes a buzz. She is saying my name, not the full one. The short version, Mishka. Only my mother called me that, and Kozlov, when he wanted to annoy me. Now another voice says it to Mishka. The girl says. The room narrows. The walls close in. The bed stretches away. The window shrinks to a square of white. Mishka, not the girl. Someone else. Down the corridor, someone has turned on a television. A game show audience laughs on command. Underneath, I hear snow. We stand at the edge of the village. The mines are under our boots. The children are where the safe path ends. Are you ours? The smallest boy asks. Yes, I say. They smile. In the present, the nurse's grip tightens. Mikhail Semyonovich, she says sharply. Look at me. I do. For a moment, her face doubles. Behind it, overlaid, I see another, the battalion commander, the partisan Kozlov, the boy with the burned cap. The faces shift, slide, settle. The nurse's eyes widen. What are you looking at? She whispers. Tracks, I say. My legs move. Not much, just a shift of weight. One step. Heel into nothing. The floor gives. There is no sound. Not a bang. Not a crack. Just a soft lurch, like a train starting or stopping. The nurse cries out. The machine screams. The drip tilts. The children laugh. Not cruelly, not happily. Just as part of the game. The radiator ticks a last time. The snow in the courtyard outside remains smooth for one more second. Then small footprints appear on it, one by one, coming from nowhere, heading toward the gap in the fence. Light, precise, knowing the pattern. One larger set follows, heavier, slower. It does not sink as deep as it should. If you put your ear to the window, you can hear it. Toke, 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 like a block of wood landing in just the right place. If you have stayed with me this far, remember this. Some roads never end where the maps say they do. Some names keep walking long after the bodies stop. You can turn away from the stories. You can switch off the light. You can shut the window. You cannot say you did not hear the footsteps. I was Senior Sergeant Mikhail Semyonovich Koval, 2nd Guards Rifle Division, Bryansk Front. Volchia Sloboda was burned in 1943. The children are still playing.